Good morning, everyone. uh, Continuing on with this shot from yesterday, but I thought I'd show you how far I've gotten so far. I did a render last night of what I've done, and if you recall from yesterday, if you joined the stream or have watched it since then, um, I blocked out, basically did a blocking, a really basic blocking, and that was it. So some things have changed, obviously, um, but I'm pretty happy with the result. The timing is pretty much identical though. That's the thing that matters the most when it comes to blocking, really. It's just the timing of everything. So I did a render. I didn't animate I haven't really animated Evie that much, but I did animate the girl, and I think she came out pretty good. So let's have a look. Hey, happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining. But yeah, really happy with the little details I've added here as well. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. And I'm sorry if the multi-stream also screws up today as well as it did yesterday, because it wasn't working very well yesterday. As in getting Twitch messages. I don't know why it wasn't working very well, but we'll see how we go. Um, but yeah, as you can see, it's a little bit different. Her position, her posing is a little bit different, but overall, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, I'm doing really well. I was quite happy with my progress yesterday, so yeah. I'm trying to get a shot a day done, or at least a shot a day done every 2 days, because as you can see, I got a little bit to go. This green area here is what I have left to animate, and luckily some of these shots are pretty simple, so I'm hoping to get it done before the end of the month. So I'm really gonna try and do a little bit of a sprint, um, going forward. Um, Basically foregoing any extra work. Uh, so I'm not going to do any work, as in freelance work. I'm just going to work on this stuff. Um, but yeah, really, really happy with the result. So as you can see, instead of her being lifted now, she's sort of crawling through the shot. So luckily her body actually fits quite nicely through the bars. You can see a little bit of hair flicker there. I use a combination of Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve, depending on what mood I'm in. On the Mac, I'm using Premiere because I don't have a license of DaVinci on the Mac. And Premiere has brought out these nice extra templates that make life really easy for like adding credits. I couldn't really do that very easily in Resolve, but now you got these cool credit line things, and they're awesome. Great for Patreon stuff and all that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, hello. But you can see here, looking really good. I'm really happy with her hair. A little bit of flow in there, and I got some arcs into her hands, so she kind of goes around and grabs the pole. Hey, welcome to the stream. And you can see, rather than her being lifted through, she kind of crawls in, puts her arm down, sort of struggles a little bit. Kind of like that little bump there. Like, oh yeah, well, yeah, it comes and goes. On Windows, it's better to use, I find, DaVinci, because of the GPU support. On the Mac, it's not so much an issue because it has a dedicated video editor, a video editing chip. Um, yeah, welcome. Thanks for everyone for joining. It's awesome to see so much activity. Oh well, as for the streaming on Twitch thing, yes, I do stream on Twitch, and thank you for joining. Um, yeah, I stream on both YouTube and Twitch when I can. Um, anyway, so what's left? Basically Evie is left. Evie is left on the animation there. Um, and I might show you what I mean by as well what's going on here as well with see the camera is clipping through the pole. I have to fix that up too. Um, I stream late because I live in Australia. It's freaking 10 a.m. here. You just gotta either move to another country that in a better time zone, or I don't know. I'll have to stream at midnight maybe. um, but yeah, Evie's not moving there, so I'm gonna have her move now. Thank you very much, Ellis. Appreciate the kind comments. I've had some pretty positive feedback on that rigging series. Yeah, from some pretty prominent people as well in the industry. So I'm surprised at how well received it has become. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely going to be making more rigging videos in the future. So yeah, here's our shot at the moment. Haven't used Unreal 5 that much because pretty much because I don't find the need for it that much right now. And why limit myself within, like, here's the thing, Unreal Engine's rendering stuff is really great, but when it comes to exporting animations, it's very limited. You got basically FBX files, no deformers. You have to rebuild all that shit inside of Unreal. It's just a pain in the ass. I'm better off just waiting for Eevee to become a real time renderer with ray tracing. That's the plan. I'm in Australia. Yes, I am in Australia. Mm-mm. Not in America, and by no means. Never gonna be there. uh, yeah, that's unlikely to happen. Cool. So here's my rig. Eevee is looking pretty basic at the moment, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start to animate her. Let me just check to see if my headphones are connected. There we go. That's better. Um, it used to take 2 characters thus far. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you're finding it useful. Um, but yeah, feel free to ask questions, do whatever you need to, whatever you want to do. I'm happy to answer anything along the way as I animate. The rig, yes, it's quite involved. But let's just turn that off. It looks a little less daunting there. Cool. So I'm gonna put on some music. You won't hear it, but I'm gonna put some on anyway. Okay. Uh, sorry, just gonna find my list. There we are. There we go. That's cool. All right, cool. Let's get started. Um, so yeah, basically here it's just going to be a head turn and her going down towards the girl. I'm going to fix up the camera first. So there's 2 cameras here. A Picasso piece. Uh, it's just my own way of doing things, I guess. All right, cool. So let's just move that camera. Where is it? There it is there. Another option is to just narrow out the focal length a little bit. So, oh, nah, that's a bit shit. Let's just bring that way. Done. Problem solved. Good night. Have a good sleep. Night, Cal. Thanks for joining anyway. Thank you very much for joining Xanthulon. Xanthulon or Xanthlon? Yes, I'm trying to stream a bit more. It's a bit easier now that I'm not teaching this week or doing any freelance. So it makes it a little bit easier. But I will have to pop off in about an hour. Cool. So Zan is fine. Cool. No worries. So now I'm basically going to, instead of her being blocked out like I did yesterday, I'm gonna work in spline mode, basically just work splined, because the girl's already splining, so it just makes it easier on my part. So I'm just gonna go ahead and convert that to Bezier animation. No worries, man. Cheers. All right, you can see how crappy that animation looks all of a sudden. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn up the lightning as well. Anything to improve performance. So it's running at around 20 FPS, which is not bad. So what I'm going to do is have her blink. I'm going to do her blink first. So I'm going to have her blink down. It's also running like shit because I have everything selected. So that also doesn't help. And now it's running at almost real time. I made a base mesh within modeling and animation series, and the deformations make poses so much easier. Yes, thank you. I'm glad they are working out because, yeah, I try to work with principles in mind. So, can weight painting help rig characters move more realistic in animations? Yes, that's definitely the case. I just get lazy and I don't do it, and I should do it more often. I'm definitely going to do it in the future with these characters. In the next episode if I have time to do it in the future. But yeah. So what I'm going to do is just get her blink in as she turns her head. There we go. A little bit of blinking. Bring those up. If you're wondering why these controls are stretched, it's because I've stretched out her eyes to give her that rounded look rather than the pointy diamond look that she usually has. So this is all bone-based deformations, and although it's great, I do think I'll go back to using blend shapes in the future because the girl is using blend shapes for her face as well, and they just look much nicer. All right, cool. Blink 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hello, everyone. Hello, Angel Dust and Nugs. Nice name. So there's our pose there. All right, I'm gonna copy that eye there. Oops, wrong one. Copy the pose from here. Paste it here. So basic blink at the moment, but it makes a difference already. And then back open over here. Oh, I'm not sure how long I should actually keep that closed. Might have it average close a bit longer. Then there we go. That's looking all right. Let's extend that out a little bit. So there we go. Get a bit of a turn. She looks like she's just going into that pose pretty quickly. So what I might do is copy when she's going into that pose there. So what I'm going to do is copy this one. And let's see. I'm going to hide away the face actually, because I don't want to ruin those keyframes. And then delete that keyframe probably. Yeah. That looks better already. How long does it take to render your animation on a PC? So on a PC, depending on the shot, because I'm using Eevee, it can be like 15 minutes to get a shot done, depending on how complex it is. On the MacBook, it's about 25 to 30 minutes. It's about double the time. I'm using the MacBook at the moment. But like with the shot being done in Eevee, I haven't had an issue where an animation takes more than an hour to render. About 250 frames, so 10 seconds of animation will usually take about 35 to 40 minutes to render. And I'm not doing it at full res either. I'm doing it at full res, sorry, but I'm not doing it at full samples, so that doesn't help either. That shortens it out. But I'm not too concerned about the quality of the render for this shot, for this show, for some reason. I'm more concerned about the feel of it. All right, cool. So I'm gonna let's see, what can I do to get into that pose? All right, so I'm gonna start off with that pose with her. All right, cool. So I want to try and give it this looking a little less like robotic. So what I'm going to do is have her turn with a little bit of a delay. Dip her head a little bit as well. Did I check the new latest? Sorry, did I check the latest Blender course by to animate? No, In fact, I only just discovered that channel like 3 days ago. So I might check it out. Definitely I'll check it out. So I'm gonna get that head in there. So already that's looking a lot better. Get that a little bit more flourish. And that's already looking a little less shitty. But I might bring that a little bit later in the animation. And I might actually start with that pose there and swap them in the head. There we go. Oh, it actually looks like shit. All right, cool. Let's just fix that up. Yeah, that's looking all right. A little better now. So with the eyes, I'll fix up those a little bit more in the future. But I also want to get her looking forward. So that, see how she's moving forward into the shot there? I want to get that going on a little earlier too. So yeah, it looks pretty bad there. So what can I do here to improve that? I'm just going to delete that keyframe and just have a little bit of a delay in the action. So basically bring this pose here forward a little bit. Nah, it looks like shit too. Let's see what we can do. It's definitely not just for newbies, that's for sure. I've been using it for 10 years now at this point. But you can do some pretty insane stuff, and you need a good level of skill to understand how it works to do it. Just like Maya, you'll need to understand the ins and outs of the system. That looks better. A little bit of a pullback. Still looking a bit slow though. So I might go into this pose really early. There we go. That looks better. Already that looks so much better. There we go. That's looking better. Turn and then forward. Turn and forward. So I'm actually bring that back a little bit just so I can just work on that one part first. It's amazing just how quickly, like how much you just got to keep watching things back and forth over and over again to get an idea of what's going on. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, cool. So you can see that's looking pretty good there. So she's still looking pretty linear there. So I might actually have a jump up a little bit as she's moving back. And then see how that little jump makes such a difference? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's looking pretty cool. The only problem now is that she's not really looking at the girl or indicating where she's going to be looking at properly. So she's not looking at the girl directly, really, like from the perspective of the shot. So I'm going to have her eyes move as well. And also have her head turn a little bit as well. I think that will look better. Yeah, I know, right? It's just insane. Like, because making this thing doesn't pay the bills, obviously. Barely, YouTube doesn't pay the bills at all, really. I don't get that much from it. But, so sometimes you just got to set it aside so you can just make a bit of cash. And that's literally what happened all of last year for a lot of the start of this year. So let's get that in there. We're going to give it a little bit of a head up action. That's looking a little bit shit. So I want to lean into it. There we go. So you can see how much better that looks already into that transition shot. And her eyes are darting toward the girl. So what I will fix up her eyes in a second. And also her eyebrows. I might actually have it tilt pretty far, actually. Keyframe that. And I'm sort of playing with some very basic transitions. There we go. That's looking better, but a little bit of a pause at the top there. You can see here I'm using the graph editor as well. Just seeing what I can do to give this a bit more personality. It's a very simple shot, so I'm not too concerned about like all the biomechanics in the shot. All right, cool. So starting with, I might go back to the face now. Turn off everything else. And work with that in mind. What I might do though is bend her body forward a bit further so it leads into more into the middle, because it's looking a little linear there. She's just sort of dropping her head and sort of looks like she's turning toward the camera on the left rather than the right. So what I might do is actually, and she is in some ways, I might actually, just before I start with that, I might just tilt her body into the other way just to trick it a little bit. So it looks more like that. Yeah, it looks better. That looks so much better. Shit. When you need a job, do you have to look for them, or are jobs looking for you to accept them? Bit of both. So last month, I basically looked out for work. I got some offers for October, so we'll see what happens. But I also use teaching as my sort of main income stream. So I teach in real life, animation and stuff like that. But yeah, depending on what I want to do. So if I'm actually desperate and I really want to get something different or work for new studios or something like that, I'll put my name out there for things. If I can't be bothered, I just wait for them to come to me, and I just use whatever client base I have. So whenever they get work coming in, I'll just accept any work they do. So I have a few trusted clients that I rely on, or they can rely on me, and I can rely on them for quick payment, good projects, all that sort of stuff. So I'll just wait to see if they have anything come in, and I'll work with them. So it really depends. Yeah, I don't work for like large studios or anything like that. Never have, honestly, because we just didn't have them in Australia. Really, we just haven't had them, and there's only a few that actually exist in Australia, and none of them work on like cartoony stuff, which sucks. They all work in VFX, which is not my game. I don't really enjoy VFX, so there's that. All right, cool. So if I want to do like cartoony productions, I'd have to move overseas basically, and that ain't happening. Not yet, at least. Up. Let's bring up her eyebrows a little bit, get a little bit of personality in there, a little bit of shock. like so. And then once she dips into the movement, her eyes will drop. So down, and as she blinks, bring those down. Actually, let's start with these available. Bring those down. See how much difference that makes, by the way? Just a little bit of movement in the eyebrows makes such a difference in the personality of the shot. And I think the eyes are, their face is moving fast enough that I don't have to worry about the eyes anymore. And if I really wanted to go nuts, I could actually add a little bit of, just a little bit of squash and stretch into the turn. But it looks a little bit shit, so I won't do that. So I'll leave those for more important shots. But yeah, happy with that. Let's do the hair. I haven't actually built any proper controls for the hair because actually I think I just want to double check. I got spring bones installed on this thing. I just want to see how this looks when she turns her head. Save the file, of course. It doesn't look great. Let's turn off that one. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. So, and it also really slows down the machine. So let's not go with that today. We're just gonna do some custom animation instead. So when she turns her head, I'm gonna keyframe all those hairs. No suitable info. Let's go ahead and keyframe those again. And when she turns her head, get a little bit of swing in there. Doesn't have to be much. It could be pretty subtle. Oops, wrong one. So even that's a little bit, that's fine. And then just swing it back a little bit in the opposite direction. So just going pose to pose, really. And you can see how much, even that's a bit too quick. So we're just going to go ahead and move these over here. And I can probably grab this pose here and copy it over there. Copy that one again, paste it there. Ah, shit. Why is it copying the wrong thing? Copy this pose. Copy, copy, copy. It can be, depending on how it works. So that's flicking too much there. So I'm gonna grab it in between, copy that, and paste it here. Well, it seems to be working. So let's have a look now. One. I think it's just too long in the keyframes there. Let's just bring those this way. That looks better. So yeah, hair animation is tricky because if you're doing an FK like I am, you basically have to work out the overlaps and the follow throughs yourself. That's the only thing. It's like working with, it's literally working like a tail. Or a string or something like that. But I'm happy with that. And that shot's done. I think, oh, maybe her mouth has to move a little bit too. So let's bring back her jaw. and hide away the hair. Okay, cool. So I might open a jaw just a tad, and then back into that pose there. Yeah, I think a little bit of opening up will help. Yeah, it looks better. So yeah, a lot of it's just experimentation and working with what you got. Obviously within the limitations of the model and the animation rig that you have, but you can work with what you got for the most part. There we go. I think that works all right. Now what I'm going to do with the blink, I'm just going to give it a little bit of squash as well. So as she blinks there, you can see my stats there, by the way. I'm going to give it a little bit of an extra oomph and the squish between the blink and as she rises. That looks a bit nicer. So I copy that one, paste it across, copy, paste, copy, paste. You seem to prefer custom bone shapes with real volume rather than standard line of edges. Oh, that's just a stylistic thing I did at the time. Part of the reason though that I did it like this for this rig is that it was easier to click. It's easier to click the shapes with a little bit of thickness. But nowadays, I you know, if I'm lazy, I'll just do it without any thickness. If it's just a quick rig, I'll just do it without that. But yeah, good question. I do it with a bit of thickness just so it's easier to click. The disadvantage, of course, is that it hides away a lot of information. Like it obscures the face a lot more. But yeah, clicking this, for instance, is much easier than clicking a line. Put it that way. So with parts like this, much easier, much easier. All right, that's cool. I'm happy with that shot now. So now I can move on to the other part of the shot, which is from frame 20 to frame 100. This is the tricky part. So now she's got nothing. So now you can see here, by the way, just to show you what I mean, what the advantages of animating is and doing cartoony stuff is you can break the rigs so much easier than if you're working in VFX. Obviously in VFX there are tricks you can do, but in pure animation world, like as in cartoony stuff, it doesn't matter where you put the character or how you stretch it. So up until here, she's looking pretty good. It's pretty solid, apart from her body breaking a little bit there. Body mechanics are pretty much on par with reality to some degree. But once she gets through the bars, she's going beneath the surface. Her legs are crushing everything. But because it's not showing in the shot, I don't give a shit. So but yeah, you can see some squash and stretch happening there as well. And then the hair's being animated like so, and then whoop, looking pretty cool. So I'm pretty happy with that. I really like her hair little settle there. I like the way her hair settles here. It's pretty cool. And the way her hair sort of flicks through the bars, I love it. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to the shot. So I'm gonna hide away the girl's rig for now because I don't want it to interfere with my visuals. So I'm just gonna hide away her. There we go. By the way, Sketchy Squirrel, I hope I answered your question. Cool. So now with this shot, starting with this pose here, let's make sure her eyes are all lined up. They seem to be okay. Let's bring back most of her controllers. And that'll be enough for now. I might turn off lights and cameras in the viewport as well. Hide that. And light. That's better. A bit easier to look at. No worries. All right, cool. So let's pose her up a little bit better. Let's see. I'm going to bring her hand to sit behind the girl. Ah, shit. Undo. I hate when I accidentally push H instead of G. I hate the fact that the hide button is... This is the one thing I hate about Blender, is the hide button's right next to the move button. It's just so stupid. Anyway. Cool. So I'm going to bring her hand maybe down to here. I might reset her fingers as well. There we go. All right, cool. Metacarpals as well need to be fixed as well. Let's just reset that again. So I'm basically setting out the poses for this. The initial poses. I'll worry about the secondary stuff like hands and shit later. But basically, I want her... Oh, her arm just broke there. All right, cool. Just to get her into the right position. I might hide her. Let's just hide everything for now. Fingers. Sorry, just going to hide away this stuff so I can just reset everything. There we go, that's better. All right, cool. Back. Let's bring those back. And head. That will be enough. Cool. So her hands are helping the girl out. I'll fix up her pole vector so that doesn't happen here. And that's just still going to be messy. Her arms are twisting a bit too much. Yes, I use Blender almost exclusively. Unless I have to use something else, unless it's part of the job description, I will just basically use Blender for everything. Except for like obviously post-production and stuff like that. I'll use After Effects or yeah, basically just use After Effects. Sorry about the glitching with the UI. That's a bug with the Mac OS and Blender. I'm hoping that the new version that comes out tomorrow fixes that issue. Fuck. Sorry, save that file. I'm going to reopen it. All right. Sorry about that. All right, cool. It's still happening? All right. It's working better now. Okay, good. There are some shortcomings with Blender though, I'll be honest. Like just right now, you can see here that every time I open up my file, her hair has been overridden by the spring bones. For one, it's still glitching out. Screw it. So I need to stop it and start it again. And then also, because it's being referenced in, it remembers the settings of your layers, even though you turn them off in this file, it brings them back on, which is really frustrating. So there's issues with the way that Blender handles its referencing still versus, say, Maya, which is frustrating, I find. So there are some things that could be improved as always with these things. What looks complicated? The animation or just the rig? All right. All right, cool. Again, sorry about the glitching with the UI. If it's coming up, yeah, it is coming up. It's so annoying. Let's just try that again. Click away, click something else, get it to reset. Okay, working. And it's only a problem on secondary monitors, which is really strange. Oh, Blender is a complicated software. The rig is okay. All right, cool. Now it's working. Cool. Yeah, I definitely will in the future. Right now, the settings are pretty simple. So if I go to the compositor, I've only got very simple stuff going on here. Starting to screw up again. Render, color grade, lens effect, and then composite. That's how it is at the moment. It's really simple, but I may add some more stuff in the future. My After Effects composite, it really depends on how on what extra stuff I have to add to the scene. Okay, let's see how we go. Okay, so hands are in place. And then what I'm going to do, I would parent her hand to the girl, but I've found that it's just easier if I just shotgun it and just sort of animate to the pose. So I'm just going to go ahead and animate her hand. So as she comes in here, I might just get a full pose into Eevee. So basically get her hands in place. And then push her body into the pose that I want her to be. So she's going to move her body forward a little bit. Have her bend over a little bit. Again, sorry about the issues with the screen. Maybe I'll lift her head up a little bit as she sort of looks over. Don't want to go too close. There we go. I want to get her a more concerned look on her face. Let's get that up and going. Bring that down a little bit. So basically I'm posing out everything at this point. So I'm going to get the whole pose for this shot done. This particular part done first. Ooh, that looks bad. It's amazing what a little bit of change in the eye shape can do to completely break the look of the character. All right, cool. There we go. Let's get that looking a little bit more concerned. And I can even just rotate the whole thing. There we go. That looks better. All right. I might reset her pose on her face here, just for now. That looks funny, strange. I'm not sure why her lips are out. Looking, unless that's just how the model was. I can't remember now. Oh, it's because their jaw is too closed. That's why. All right, cool. That looks a bit better. So we're going to grab this now. Let's get a little bit of a pose going on there. Cool. So let's see how it looks when she moves at this point. That looks pretty good. I mean, obviously it's still blocking, but I want her to keep on bending forward as she helps her through. So she's still going to bend her body forward. And now, yeah, even though you don't see it, I'm going to put her hand on her back. Because you still see her arm sort of helping the girl out. There we go. And here at this point where she's moving her arm, I'll have to have her arm come out a little bit. So she's coming there, and then she'll have to sort of lift up and kind of see how it's looking really linear there with the hand. In the near future, I'm going to start college with my final assignment, and I was really like the way your movie looks. So I was wondering if you're ever going to make a video on the process about it. Yeah, I could. The shader is available for free if you want to download it. Yeah. These videos are basically that example of the process behind it. The shader itself is what builds the entire look of the film. And yeah, just going for a very simple sort of feel, I guess you can say. All right, let's go with that. Actually, I might have her go to a bum, like sort of like a, helping her lift her bum above the There we go. So yeah, that's looking a little bit better. Yeah, that looks better. And then she sort of pushes her across. Obviously, she's going to move her whole body eventually, but I'm just going to get the idea across into my head first. But yeah, as for a full-on like tutorial on how the whole thing was made, it's possible, I guess you can say. But yeah, the actual shading and stuff is all done through the same shader that I put up on Gumroad. That looks better. And the animation is pretty straightforward, actually. It's very simple. There's no fancy features or anything like that that's going on here. No fancy physics. That's looking pretty good. So you can see how she looks like she's pushing forward now with her arms. She's pushing forward the girl. And then just here, we can have a little bit of overlap. Pushing, the arm is kind of coming through the bars. But not going that far further than this. So you can see how much of a difference that feels, like where she's supporting the girl. So that's looking really cool. Sorry, I'm just checking it out, making sure that everything's still working on the both ends of the chat. So again, thank you for joining. So yeah, we've got hand movement is looking all right. Obviously, this is all early stages with that particular character. So you can see what I mean by everything kind of has to be taken into consideration. So now I'm going to start with the torso. So that's looking really, really basic. So I'm going to have a drop down a little bit first. How is the animated girl hair animated? Just with bone shapes, just with joints. So similar to, let me turn on the rig. Let's turn on her hair. So I've basically keyframed these joints. So if we look at the actual geometry, let's turn off everything except the hair in the bones. It's basically just bendy bones, animated FK. And that's it. Very simple keyframes, nothing much to it. And there we go. That's it. Very simple little setup. With the body, you can see here that when she raises her body here, it's very, very robotic. See that? Really robotic. So what we need to do is sort of get a little bit of up and down motion, a little bit of arc going on. So basically she's going to dip her body and see how much difference that makes? Just that little bit of body, like support in the body. Massive difference. A little bit of a dip and it just makes such a difference. No worries. Thanks for asking. Ah, thank you. All right, so there's a little up, and then she's going to have to move forward a little bit further. And I might even add a little bit of a jump in her body as well, which is sort of like, all right, one, and then one. Almost like a little bit of an arc. And then she can't go much further. But I'm going to raise her up a little bit and get a little bit of an arc going on there as well. So firstly, I'm going to rotate her whole body. There we go. Drop her body a little bit there. She lifts her up. That looks better. See how much difference that makes? Like where you're supporting the entire action throughout the body. 1, 2, 1, 2. So there's two major actions where she gets in, she stops. 1, 2. So she's pushing the girl across. Now, so 1. Oops, that's not the right spot to put that. 1. So here we go. And then as she pushes off, now Evie can go backwards. Back into a settle. So basically her body's going to get back into a lower position. Hey, how you doing? I have thought about making my quote unquote fans that 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 nickname, but I can't because of the YouTubes. Ah, thanks, man. Cheers. Thanks for the compliment. So you can see now it's dropping too fast, so it's going to delete that keyframe. All right. I'm going to bring her up and then down. And then kind of bring that up, down like that. Boom. So you can see I'm working throughout the entire, I'm basically working within the COG only at this time for now. But you can see how much difference that makes in the animation. Just that the animation supporting the action of the girl. 1, 2, there we go. Awesome. And if you want to view it, just go calculate motion paths and you can actually see the action. You can see that for the most part, it's still linear in the front because, it's not that complicated animation. But the arcs are looking pretty good. Nice little cute little thunk. And all I need to do here to clean that up, that linear part up, is just maybe add a little bit of a swoopy swoop. Yeah. Yes, I do. I use a tablet when I use a pen tablet for animation, not animation. I use a pen tablet for sculpting, and then I use my mouse and keyboard for animation. So yeah, it depends on the purpose. I probably have to buy a new tablet, unfortunately, though, because my MacBook and the XP Pen doesn't seem to like each other that much. And I haven't found a solution yet. And I think it's down to the M1 chip. I think I'm going to keep it as is. There we go. Let's just bring that. Yeah, that looks good. It's a little bit of a bounce. More of a bounce. One. That looks cool. 1, 2, 4. Yeah. All right, cool. So now we can actually start to work on the secondary action of her character. So in the next shot, oh, no worries. So in the next shot here, you'll see that when she turns, she goes into the shot, into literally the shot. So basically what I need to do is line up, or at least infer the same pose in this shot here when she goes to turn. Okay? So I'll probably do a bit of both. So I'll probably fix up the pose at the start of this animation to match this animation and vice versa. So I'm just going to get a relatively good idea of where I want the hands to be at this point. So in this point, I want to have her hands sit on the gun holster on the left, or on her right, sorry, and her hand to sort of be in the same position on the pole. In this case, holding onto the pole, I think, to take sort of infer some movement here. So basically at this point here, that means that at this point we can figure out the end result of her pose. So the end result of her pose will be her hand. Let's just also make sure that we have some gaps here. So just around there, I want to get that animation going to that shot. I'm going to get her pose in place. So in this case, her hand over here is going to be on her holster, well, at least nearby. Probably like that, actually. Obviously, her shoulder's perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and move that like that. Oof, that's not a good plan. Let's make sure this keyframe's been keyframed. There we go. And then over here, we want to get that arm in place, like so. So yeah, just going ahead and doing that first. Now her hand over here is going to be, I think, visible in the shot. So I'm going to bring her hand up here. That'll do. All right, cool. That will work for me. And then her pole vector is really far away. So I'm going to copy that. And bring that all the way back. There we go. So there's things I always miss as well when I'm doing this animation stuff as well. Like where poses are and all that sort of shit. But that's good. That's all sorted. let's get that pose in place now. So what I want to do is reposition her body a little bit. So I'm going to do that with the FK controls here. That looks nice, actually. Yeah, it looks actually just by accident. Happy little accident. That's looking good. All right, so that last pose is what matters the most. So I'm going to go ahead and keyframe basically everything that's visible here at 85. And then worry about fixing up her pose. Actually looks all right. I don't know, but we'll see. Her shoulders are a bit fucked. So we can wrap this up in the next 5 minutes. So you can see here that we have to bring her shoulders back a little bit. That will fix up her shoulder there. We have to bring her shoulder forward here. Rotate her might have to rotate her. Oh, I think her shoulder looking all right. The twist is looking okay. I could go ahead and clean up maybe her shoulder a little bit there. There we go. And obviously got our eyes looking at the girl properly. I think at this stage, I'm actually eventually what I might do is have her look back into place, but we'll see. I'm gonna have a sort of calm her, bring her hand around like so. Let's see how this looks. Okay, looking a little bit linear there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dip her arm a little bit and fix up the pole vector. There we go. So yeah, you can see just how much consideration needs to be taken into place when it comes to this shit. There's always something to be improved. So you can see here that's looking linear. So what I can do is drop her arm a little bit like so. And now that's looking a little bit better. So looking good. Yeah. The nose is literally kind of like a really thin plane. And then it wiggles. So depending on left or right, I wiggle it to change perspective. So if she's looking that way, her nose will be that way. If she's looking left, she looks that way. If she looks right, it's that way. And I'm basically, yeah, just faking the perspective, forced perspective. So yeah, that's how that one works. All right, cool. So let's see how we got. We got this. So the blocking of the girl, of Evie is oh thanks. Is on her way. I'm happy looking with that. I'm happy with that. What I've done so far today. So if we look at everything we've done today so far. So the one thing I noticed with the hookup that I'll probably fix up tomorrow, this afternoon, is she basically stops moving into the shot. So it almost looks like she's slowing down, where I should keep that motion going in her body there. So I might actually repeat the animation a little bit at the start there to make it look like it's hooking up. But compared to how it looked before, where she's not moving at all, we're on our way. So that's our blocking for the that's our blocking for Eevee, at least at the start, at this point in time. So I'll probably spend this afternoon refining that animation, so to finish up the shot, and then I'll be on to the next shot. So I'm hoping that works out. I got to wrap it up there because I got an appointment to go to. But thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in on the chat. It's been awesome. And again, if you want to check out more, there's plenty of other live streams that I've recorded on YouTube. There's a bunch of tutorials, obviously. So feel free, and also check out the last tutorial on the dinosaur, on the dragon bones. It's really fun. It's worth trying out. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.